Up next for the Hawks, they come back home to Chicago, come back home to the United Center, come back home to Chelsea Dagerland. Be nice to hear Chelsea Dager 8 or 9 times. So I'm counting now, and Chelsea Dager was literally played 9 times during our 6-game homestand. Once against Minnesota, 3 times against Winnipeg, 0 times against Detroit, 3 times against New York, 0 times against Tampa Bay, and twice against Toronto. Added up, that's 9. I'm sorry, that's on me. I apologize. Yeah.
Woohoo! We are in a week. Yeah, can't get any better.
Hello and welcome to Hawks Recap. The Blackhawks lose tonight to the Toronto Maple Leafs by a score of 3-2. For the second time this season, the Hawks lose to the Leafs in overtime, and the Hawks finish off their 6-game homestand with a whopping 3 points. The Hawks start this game off very well. They have a fantastic first period. They outshoot the Maple Leafs 17-11 in this first frame, and 5.5 minutes in, they get themselves the opening lead with Brent Seabrook scoring a power play goal. They basically waste no time on this power play, and they're up 1-0 early in this game. Fast forward to about 3.5 minutes left in the first period, and the Hawks cannot catch a break apparently because an obvious icing call is not called. Marleau chips the puck out of his defensive zone all the way down. Brent Seabrook basically quits playing it. He reaches the point where icing should be called and touches the puck and just kind of shoves it aside. There's no call from the refs. The ensuing possession for the Maple Leafs results in a goal. The puck bounces off Mitch Marner in front and into the back of the net. And we have a tie game, and Brent Seabrook and basically everyone and anyone is just absolutely irate because this missed call, this obvious missed call, results in a goal against. I tend to give the refs the benefit of the doubt most of the time because this game is severely difficult to ref. We get to see it in slow motion and things look very easy to see and call, but this game is very fast paced and a lot of things happening, and I try not to go too hard on the refs, but this I don't know what they're thinking. It was a big turning point in this game. And to think of all the periods the Hawks have dominated this season. I'm not saying dominated games. I'm talking about just single periods that the Hawks have been the obvious dominant team. How many of those, and I'm going to guess like at least 80% of those, they don't get the result on the scoreboard. They dominate this first period, and this game ends up in the second period tied 1-1. It's hockey, I get it, but it's just so disappointing thinking about the chances the Hawks have had to get themselves a lead in a game and then see their result in the standings because they can't, even after their play dictates it. They had 3 posts in this first period, and they just can't buy a lead coming out of this first period. The second period would not yield any goals, but despite that, this game was very entertaining, and this period was entertaining as well. Patrick Sharp getting a piggyback ride during it. It was a fun game to watch. This entire game, second period included here, even though there was no goals. It was entertaining. Third period starts, and this game kind of starts getting a bit tense. The Blackhawks really need this game. There's no other Central Division teams playing tonight, so it's a chance for the Hawks to gain 2 points and really just, it's something they need. But about 5 minutes into the third period, Nazem Kadri scores a power play goal for the Maple Leafs, and the Hawks are down, and it's not looking good. About 3 minutes after that, 8 minutes into the third period, the Blackhawks would get a power play of their own. Hinostroza throws the puck on net. There's a scramble in front, mad scramble, and Schmaltz finds a way to put that puck into the back of the net, and the Hawks tie this game up 2-2 with their second power play goal of the game. It's a far cry from going 0 for 6 against the Lightning, or basically -1 for 6 against the Lightning, and they're a team that looks a lot like the Maple Leafs. This game is tied, and we're in for a wild ride. Now, the Maple Leafs did challenge this goal, saying it was goaltender interference. Anisimov did fall on Anderson, but from what I could see, it didn't seem like Anisimov hit Anderson or made contact with Anderson until the puck was already in to the net or just crossing the line. I think, considering that the goal was called a good goal on the ice and there wasn't really conclusive evidence to say that Anisimov prevented Anderson from making the save, I like the idea that they'd stick with the call on the ice. It's a bang-bang play. If it was called no goal, goalie interference on the ice, I would say stick with that call, but since it was called a good goal on the ice, it should be a good goal. Now, I can see why Maple Leafs fans could be angry with this call because it really could have gone either way. But after their first goal of this game, give me a break. The rest of the third period was tense. The Hawks really needed at least 1 point out of this game, preferably 2 points, and just both teams trading some really, really good chances as this game finished. Both Anderson and Glass making some really big saves. I really, really thought that Matthews was going to score there with about 20 seconds left. I mean, he had a wide open top of the net in the slot, and he just airmailed it by a few inches at most. I held my breath during that. I thought he was going to score, and the Hawks were somehow not going to get a single point out of this game. But thankfully, Matthews missed, and we're going into overtime. Bonus hockey, we are guaranteed a point, and we got a chance for 2 points. 6 seconds into overtime, Keith slashes Nylander, and Nylander gets a penalty shot. And before anyone says anything, that was a good call. Keith got Nylander on the hands, or at least very close to the hands, and prevented Nylander from getting a shot. And it was a breakaway, so that's a penalty shot. Unfortunately, that would be all she wrote for this game, as Nylander would go forehand, backhand over Glass and into the back of the net, and the Hawks lose 2-3. This game was very entertaining, and I was looking so forward to a very entertaining overtime, and it ends like that. That was quite disappointing. It would have been nice to see Crawford in net there, but he's still out with injury, although it seems like he might be traveling with the team after the All-Star break, so that's kind of good news. But I'm not saying that Crawford would have stopped that penalty shot, but I think the chances of the save there would have been increased. Up next for the Hawks, they travel to Detroit to play the Red Wings, a nice little original six matchup. This will be the back half of a back-to-back here. You'd think Forsberg will probably start in net. He's got to play a lot better than he did against the Islanders if the Hawks are going to try and get 2 points in this one. The last matchup between these two teams, the Red Wings won 4-0. That was right before the bye week for the Hawks. Hopefully this game right before another bye week, the All-Star break, doesn't yield that same result. Now, before the game, I sent out a tweet to Steve Dangle, who does these types of videos for the Toronto Maple Leafs, trying to do a little bit of a bet here where the loser would donate some money to a charity of the winner's choice. I also sent him a message a couple weeks ago regarding this on YouTube. I have not heard a response from him at all, but I'd still love to make do with this bet, even though it was never technically agreed upon. I'd love to donate money to a charity of his choice. So help me out. Let's try and get his attention so he can pick a charity so I can donate some money to it. Help me out. Let's make this happen. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching this episode of Hawks Recap. I really hope you enjoyed it. It feels so good to be back on time with these videos. Let me know your thoughts on the game down in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. If you do, I very much appreciate it. But most importantly, as always, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.